Actually, no, not ready.
I'm keeping part of this
in. All right, let's do it.
Welcome back to another episode of Touchline Takes. I'm your host, Cam, joined by my co-host, Carl, and we are here to give you the latest, the greatest, and the wackiest?
The wackiest. This is going to be the wackiest episode we've ever done.
It actually kind of is. We're not really lying about that part, are we?
No, I'm about ready to shotgun this beer, even though I just opened it. So,
well, first, I guess this is kind of becoming a thing. So we'll start it off. We'll get on the right foot here, off the right foot. There we go. Cheers.
We are not sponsored by Bud Light, but these new Bud Light summer seltzers, unbelievable. This is a mango Mai Tai.
Everyone's in the seltzer game these days.
First time trying it. It's an 8 out of 10. I really would give it an 8 out of 10. It's like that. You really can feel the mango and the Mai in the seltzer.
Wow, Bud Light actually makes something taste like something for once. All right, well, I guess I'll give the listeners some information so that they're not just sitting here listening to us talk about nothing. We're going to talk Euros. We're going to talk Jamie Vardy. We're going to talk more MLS D3 rumors. We're going to talk some lower league failures.
Mishaps.
Snafus. Is that a word?
Snafu.
I think that's a thing.
It is.
Yeah, and just kind of recap how things are going in both NISA and USL. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about how I got into an argument with a troll on Reddit for absolutely no reason.
I feel like this is a weekly thing, though. This is
I'm really good at wasting my time on people on Reddit who absolutely don't deserve it.
It's the Florida life.
There's my cat. She's been watching a lot of USL, so we might expect some tactical analysis from her later on the pod. But to start it off, I just wanted to, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, picked up this vintage Vancouver Whitecaps USL kit. I'm not going to show it to you, but it has like a USL champion something.
Take it off.
2006 or something on here. So very cool. Shout out to the guys at Golasso Kits for that. We may talk to them in the future here. I'm not going to guarantee anything, but it's pretty cool guys.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And Carl, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I can't really complain about anything right now. We've been doing a lot of good things with this podcast, and we've been doing a lot of good things, seeking our individual happiness as well, which I think is very important to do outside of this podcast. For you listeners who are listening, turn us on when you're cooking, turn us up when you're walking through the streets or through the woods or going for a hike. Like we're a relaxing podcast. We will give you the content you need and deserve and want, but we'll also calm you down. Potentially. Or we could just get you pissed off. Like, I mean, that seems, either one of those.
Yours.
The choice is yours. However you want to read into what we say or the information we give you. We're going to say it as unbiased. Okay. I'm not going to promise I'm going to be unbiased. Like, that's the last thing I'm going to promise on this podcast. But
okay.
Cam, how are you? How's the Florida sunshine? Like, what's going on?
It's good. I went for a little float down. So I've been pretty petrified since I moved down here of any body of water, even the ocean. You got stingrays in there, sharks, all kinds of stuff. But I think I've been more petrified of little like ponds, streams, rivers, whatever you want to call them. Because there's gators in there, obviously, snakes,
the gators.
Who knows what other creatures, but
bodies.
I slightly overcame that fear. This past weekend, me and my girlfriend, we went on we went to the state park kind of near Gainesville. It's one of those like crystal clear little springs in Florida. And you can rent a tube and float down. It's kind of nice because you float down with a bunch of other people, so you don't really have to worry about like gators and snakes and stuff. Now, truth be told, we saw a snake and saw a gator on the way down, but we were all good. Everything was fine.
Right.
It was very relaxing. So yeah,
Well,
it's been good, man. And I also, I think I've already mentioned on the pod, I joined a Sunday league. I've now also joined a 7-on-7 league as well. So we're really, I'm getting into it. I'm gonna be joining a USL squad in no time.
How out of shape are you? Scale of 1 to 10.
Very, it's bad. And I checked my blood pressure at a Publix the other day, and it said high. So we're struggling on all fronts on this podcast.
Well, I hope for the best for you when it comes to that. I mean, when it comes to gators, though, you know what they always say: you don't have to outrun the gator, you just have to outrun the slowest person.
You zigzag. You got to zigzag. That's what
you
they
zigzag.
say.
They can't see straight, right? They because their eyes are like off to the side, like little.
I don't know what it is, but apparently you're supposed to zigzag. Like they can run straight really fast, but I guess they struggle at changing direction. So that's why you got to zigzag.
And this podcast is brought to you by Animal Planet.
I don't know why they would ever sponsor us, but look, anything we can get. So Carl, why don't we start with something a little wacky?
Wacky. I like wacky. Anything wacky is A-okay in my book.
So I was thinking we'd start with a little piece of news that came out. I think we're about 2 weeks away from it now, so we're getting there late. But we'll make the discussion fun because we're obviously not breaking any news.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Vardy of Leicester City. He became a part owner of the Rochester Rhinos in a move that I think surprised literally everyone. We're not quite sure what the ownership percentage is, but from the article I read on The Athletic, he seems very involved and interested in the project. Apparently, he's been messaging the previous owners, but also they're still the owners. His new co-owners, he's been messaging them constantly. He's very excited about the facilities and this and that. We still have no clue what league they're playing in. There's been plenty of speculation, but nobody really knows. They last played in the USL, I think 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years back. I mean, they were a really good organization. They won USL a couple times. They are the last non-MLS team to have won the US Open Cup back in 1999.
It's been that long?
Yeah, long time.
Wow.
They beat, I believe, 4 MLS clubs on the way to that victory. So quite the exciting bit of news. And before I have you comment, Carl, because I'm sure you've got some comments to make, I've got a couple things to show you. Now, audio listeners, I'm sorry. You're gonna
close your eyes and envision it.
You're gonna have to check it out on YouTube. Maybe I'll post the stuff on Twitter. But for starters, I got a 1999 Rochester Rhinos pocket schedule. I don't know. I just kind of went for it. It was like $3, so I figured.
And it's laminated.
And it's laminated, yeah. Oh, it's like in one of those like
protective cases,
protective sleeves that you get for Pokemon cards. But that's not all. That's not all, folks. I also found Rochester Rhinos.
He's the biggest fan. You're literally the biggest.
I'm ready for the Vardy party in Rochester, man. I'm ready for it. So I think I'll keep this on for the podcast. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy what you can find on eBay. Probably in total, I paid $20 for both of these things. So
That's unbelievable. I love it. That is so cool. And no, I think you were the one that sent me that article on Jamie Vardy and the Rochester Rhinos. And I think had like heart palpitations just because like I couldn't believe it.
So did he from all the Red Bull.
but I think once I sat down and like started thinking about it more, it didn't shock me as much because Vardy, seems like somebody who would be interested in this. For, a lot of you who don't know, Jamie Vardy came up through those lower leagues in
Yes.
England. And it took him a while to get to Leicester City. I think he was in his mid-20s or something like that before he actually got to Leicester City in the season. And, and he first kind of appeared on everybody's radar that season that, Leicester City won in like 2016. And since then, he's just been, consistent. He's been unbelievable. So for him to get involved, in a lower, I think it's more surprising it happening in the US rather than in the UK. But still, I don't think it matters how much of the ownership he has. Just Rochester Rhinos with, the name tied to them, Jamie Vardy, I think is going to get them so much attention and so much publicity and, a lot more revenue. I mean, you're already buying things off eBay now. So
well, they're not making any money off that, but
right. But
hey, look, they put out a sweet jersey when they finally get to the playing field. You know how I am. I'm right. Addicted, so I'd probably get one.
Definitely. No, I think this is one of the coolest, lower league soccer stories like we've seen for a while, and I'm really interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Landon Donovan be an integral part of San Diego Soccer's. We've seen Didier Drogba with his Phoenix ownership and kind of player owner status. We've seen similar with Tim Howard.
DeMarcus Beasley too.
DeMarcus Beasley. Yeah. However, all of those were sort of new projects. This is really interesting, and I think the more I read into it, the more I realized that he's done his research. He knows the history of this club, and I think that was probably his reasoning for buying it. Now, I mean, you could also pull in the history of Rochester being sort of an industrial town, and Vardy's got his history working in a factory as well prior to getting his break in football. But I think it's more of a well thought out move than many people would have originally thought. Obviously, it's not a huge market. There's also the competition from Flower City FC, the NISA club that's coming to Rochester, who recently purchased, or not purchased, but has absorbed the Rochester Lancers men's teams into their organization. But nevertheless, I think it's interesting, and I think the discussion that is on everyone's mind is what league are they going to play in? I mean, there have been rumors, and I don't know where the basis is for them, that they would put it in the new MLS D3 league, but it seems like a bit of a disservice to their history and also to Vardy's ambitions.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about them going to that. I would love them to see them in like a USL League One or a USL Championship.
Yeah.
I think that would be a perfect spot for them to be in. I would be really surprised if the MLS, sort of lent out its hand for them to join, because I don't think it's really a market they're looking, to kind of establish in, because I mean, the MLS throughout their history, and I think we'll see even with this D3 league, and I mean, this might be a good segue into talking more about this, but I feel like they're more looking towards the bigger cities. They've always been like that. When, the USL NISA has always been more grassroots, looking at places like, wow, there's just so many of them. A place like El Paso, or a place like, or for Forward Madison, Madison, Wisconsin, like just those type of places has always been kind of the shtick for USL throughout their history. I couldn't see MLS doing something like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think it's also we're not sure what they have maintained in terms of a franchise, a licensing, I guess it is. I've seen things saying, hey, they've been paying for a USL League One license the past couple of years. Oh no, they've actually maintained their USL Championship license for the past couple of years. They've been paying whatever fee. I don't know. There's not much information. The Athletic didn't say anything about that with their interview with the owners. I would be actually pretty surprised, I think, if they didn't maintain the relationship with USL, especially if there's any future in terms of, promotion and relegation between the two leagues. I think it would make sense, like you said, for them to start out in USL League One again, get off the ground. Obviously, Vardy's had a pretty good history of developing talent with his, V9 Academy, I think he had
Yeah.
in England. So it might make a lot of sense. Now, the one thing I will say is if their prospect was more leaning towards MLS D3, the memes would be pretty great if they aligned with Red Bull New York. I mean,
It would be
it writes
perfect.
itself, right? Like,
Right. But
Vardy's got his affiliation already, and that would he would do anything for a lifetime supply of Red Bull. So
I can just picture Vardy in the tunnel before every match, just shotgunning a Red Bull and just going out there and just it's they say Red Bull gives you wings, and for Vardy I feel like it gives him another 10 miles per hour speed when he's playing out there. But if that happens,
careful, Carl. You know what they say: chat shit, get banged.
No, I hope not. I don't know. I because I feel like Rochester and Vardy's ambitions are above what MLS wants the D3 league to be, which is a complete development league.
Yeah.
I think Vardy wants to have, and be part of a club that's going to have success. He wants to be part of a club that's going to win. I feel the worry might be, and I think it's a lot of concerns with this, this D3 MLS league is they're just going to be rotating play. Like it's, we talked about, it's a minor league club, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to be rotating players up and down. And is the goal really isn't going to be winning. The goal, is going to be more about developing those players. Right.
Yeah. And I guess, I had one last question before maybe we move into more MLS D3 talk. Do you think he will turn out for the club at all? Or do you think this will just be a purely backroom situation?
How old is Vardy now?
I want to say like 32, 33. I can confirm that for you while you're giving your opinion if you want.
He's 34. Wow. Holy 34, cow.
Okay.
I think he will. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I think that would be something he would be really interested in if it came down to that. I maybe, and now thinking about it more, maybe that's the long-term goal and plan for him is he said, hey, I want to go to the US. We're sort of a lower league club that I can try to help revive and possibly go and play for, in my earlier 30s, in a couple years or something. So who knows? I think there's a high possibility. I would give it probably like 60% chance. I would say a 60% chance.
Those are good odds. I'll take those odds.
Yeah. Now we can, when we post this, we can @ Old Takes Exposed and see how far off I was in 4 to 5 years, or maybe sooner when he gets done playing. I don't know if he's going to get done playing anytime soon for Leicester because he just had another monster season for them again, and they qualified for a Champions League. So, they missed. They missed.
Yeah, but just barely.
That's right. Chelsea got it, didn't they? Mm-hmm. Crap. Tottenham definitely didn't get it. That's for sure. But I don't know. Maybe now I'm second guessing myself. No, 60% chance. 60% chance. I'm writing it down. I'm marking it down. He comes to Rochester to play and be, a player part owner type of deal.
Well, I think that's about as good as we're going to get on that topic. We'll find out in time. But Carl, first of all, I've got a visitor here. So if anyone was curious, this is
that's
my
the cat. Say hi.
We'll let her go back down and do her thing. Let's talk about MLS D3. I think we've gotten a little bit more information. I've seen some clubs have pretty much announced where they're going to play, or not where they're going to play, but confirmed that they're going to pull their 2 teams and put them in D3. Any more thoughts? I mean, we already kind of gave a lot of our thoughts on this whole situation, but what are you thinking?
I hate it. Next question.
All right, okay, we can
No,
move on.
no. I do want to expand on that. I don't hate it as much as what I did before. I think I'm more optimistic that they will mind their own business with this D3 league.
Mm-hmm.
I think our biggest concern that we talked about on our previous podcast when discussing this was that they would sort of set this up to, to push out USL, to kind of push out NISA. That's to say that they might not still be seeking this league to have that Division 2 status. Who knows? But I with more information now about it, I feel a little more confident that that wouldn't be the case. That would be.
I think some of the things I've read is just that the case for the 2 teams in USL is just no longer relevant. They're not drawing the crowds that USL wanted, and just the overall philosophies are no longer meshing anymore. That, like you said, this is a development league, and I think we can find some comfort in that. There is the whole part of bringing in independent clubs, but I see that as more of a sham. Any independent club that wants to play to win is not going to join this league, in my opinion.
100%.
What you may see some of the youth clubs out there that have some ambitions of giving kids a slight step up without having to leave the area. They may join in on this, but I'm not as worried as I think I previously was.
Right, 100%. Yeah, I just think that I think they're doing this solely to seek a developmental type of league. They're not doing this to be another MLS or another competitive league. They're not looking to create, because all of us know, by this point, that MLS, as of right now, is still not seeking anything when it comes to, pro rel. And that's a whole different conversation we can talk about every single podcast. But I just don't see them wanting to be a competitive, anything more than a developmental league. And I don't see them trying to, seek that Division 2 status and push out the USL. I think they will, if until maybe they feel more threatened by the USL, which I think they should at this point, but that's besides, what's going on here. I think they will, kind of stay to their side. USL will be on their side, and they'll mind each other's business, at least for the first couple of years. I think what we've seen in the past too is MLS try to do these things and they completely fold.
Yeah. So it's I think if I remember correctly, there was a reserve league at one point, and then that became the USL partnership. Essentially, they just moved all their reserve teams into that. So yeah, I think it was announced that they expect 20 teams to participate in the first season. I think most of the 2 teams that I've seen are going to join that. The only one I haven't seen anything from yet is Red Bull. There are more. I just can't really think of them right now. I was surprised to see Sporting Kansas City join, as well as I believe North Texas, which is FC Dallas's youth system, joining as well. I kind of figured that those academies or production lines would be, they've produced some talent. So I really was expecting that they would continue to want a high level of competition. However, not the case. Speaking of competitions and competitions that did not happen, let's go to USL, where all is not perfect as we would like it to be.
No.
Oakland Roots, great at marketing, not so great at putting together a playable field.
It's so awful
Can you
too.
tell can you actually explain the situation a little bit just in case anyone was
Yeah.
not aware?
For people who aren't aware or maybe just catching this USL train earlier on, Oakland Roots, huge marketing campaign. They're huge in NISA, one of the bigger clubs in NISA. Came on up to now, what are they, USL League One? Is it?
No, they're
League?
in the championship.
They're in the championship. Okay, so that shows you. I mean, maybe their marketing campaign isn't as great as we thought. But they're getting ready to play. It was Sacramento, right? They're getting ready to play, and I
yes.
believe it was Sacramento.
Yeah.
See that I'm 1 for 2 now. So I saw the pictures of this. It was unbelievable. But
So
all of a sudden, like I don't know how long before the game, but it comes out that they can't play. The USL releases a statement that they can't play because
that's important. That's important. The USL head office said, nope, not happening.
Yeah, the USL immediately, said we are not playing. And you have to imagine, because it's sort of, I think this is one of the bigger games of the weekend. Oakland Roots, this is like their first.
They had a
home
lot
game
planned too. That should be mentioned.
Right.
They had a lot of Juneteenth festivities planned for this game, and
Right.
that was a big part of their statement that they put out regarding the situation.
Yeah. So it and the field literally looks like you have a green patch of grass here, and then it looks like someone just took like a piece of turf, like a small rectangle, and laid it over that patch of grass. Like it looked like a checkered board, and like
really bad.
It was really bad. And there's enough issues, at times when you have like players from Europe coming over here, players from South America coming over here, complaining about the turf and the playing fields of some of these like stadiums in the USL, in the MLS. But I mean, props to the USL for seeing this field and just being like, you know what, like that's not it. Like that's not gonna happen. So I
mean, it was bad. Like
can you screen share
really
that? Are you able to share your screen? You
I
see
think
at the
I could
bottom?
actually do that real quick.
Yeah.
We're Touchline Takes is gonna take a.
We're getting technological.
Let me do that real quick here.
For you audio listeners, I want you to close your eyes, and I'm gonna describe this field to you in perfect detail.
Let me see if I can do this the most effective way. We're really just
we're learning. We are learning on the fly. But
for somebody that's used as much Zoom as I have. Okay, we're doing this share. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes. Oh my.
Okay.
Like,
this is bad.
No,
I don't know what this is, but it's brutal.
So the field they're playing on looks like an American football field.
Mm-hmm.
And they look like they have just like, I don't even know how long this is, like rectangles of turf. They're just laying over the football field. And
it's not a bad stadium, but it's just
I mean, I'm looking at, so the statement from the USL or from Oakland Roots. Let's see, I got it pulling up here. It says, Roots family, the match has been called off tonight as the field was not approved by the USL and tonight's match officials. Like that's no surprise. We must apologize for not playing this historic home opener. But the last line sort of gets me too, is we will work to be better and take full responsibility for the errors in preparation. So I think they probably knew and realized, like, going into it, like, yikes, like this might be not good. Like, and I mean, you see that view right there, like you can just see the patches that they just kind of, placed over it. And
I'm trying to see if I could find a better picture of it, but I mean, you can kind of see it right here. It's just, I guess the issue was they like leased the turf in 2019.
I have this article right here, and I don't know how true this is, so someone's gonna have to fact check it, but apparently the turf that they leased was once leased as well by the New York Cosmos. So the guy said in his
Back
tweet,
when they were playing at Hofstra, probably.
yeah. So in the end of the tweet says, "May this turf live forever." I mean, maybe that's what they're going for. Like, hey, this is, famous turf, that was once used by the Cosmos. Like, let's bring it in and but it just didn't work out like that.
Mhm.
And, hopefully the next time they try to, I don't know when they're going to be holding another home game, but let's hope when they do it again, like they actually have a playable surface, because they're going to be such a fun
Yeah.
team to watch and follow. And like you said, their marketing is so good. We're talking about part owners. Marshawn Lynch, one of the,
Right.
most likable players in, the NFL, has a
I
stake in
haven't really
this.
looked, but I hope that they've got some permanent stadium plans in the future here, because as we've seen, it's getting to the point where this is farcical for a team to be
Especially
playing
in the
or to be
championship.
showing up with a pitch like this in the championship. We've got the Colorado Switchbacks, who just opened their beautiful new stadium,
Right.
and they're seeing great attendance on that. As we've talked about time and time again, Louisville, even
Mm-hmm.
the Tampa Bay Rowdies, they've made do, and actually I think made a baseball stadium look pretty nice,
Right.
for what it's worth. This is a time for USL to, I think, do exactly what they did: lay the law down and make it known that they're not playing around, and literally will not be playing on a field like
On a
this.
bad turf. Yeah.
So
No, and it's really unfortunate, because obviously some of these clubs in the USL can't really afford to build their own stadium. I know it just came out, I think a few weeks ago, that Fresno is now looking to build their own USL stadium, which would be awesome. Fresno is such a great spot, and they've been doing really well in the USL. There's just so much that goes into it that when it comes to tax and finances, and that we don't really even understand. And
yeah,
the
let me
city has to
actually
approve it.
let's have a little fun. Since we're doing video now, I'm going to play something just so we can really get the contrast here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do
There's
another
there's no
little.
there's no copyrights with this, right? We're not gonna get like
I don't think so.
FCC or whatever is gonna come
No,
down on us.
this is just somebody's
Kind of broke.
YouTube video, so I'm not worried. So here we have USL Championship 2021 stadiums. We've got Patriots Point, which is Charleston Stadium.
Oh, that's a
They've
nice one.
moved. This is what they just moved to, actually.
Oh, look at that view though. That's beautiful.
Yeah, we've got Orange County, which they share, beautiful stadium, which they share with California United Strikers. Like, magnificent.
5,000
In my
people.
opinion.
That's between 5 and 10,000. That's what you need, man.
Yep, BBVA
Excuse me.
Field, Birmingham Legion, another beauty. Like this, you could mistake this for a lower league English field. We'll just ignore LA Galaxy 2. They're not really even going to be part of the championship for much longer, so that doesn't really matter. Not a great field. This must be a modular field. I'm actually not sure, but it looks good. Pitch looks good. Don't know how it looks today.
It's not
Red Bull
bad.
coming in with something that's not bad for a 2-team.
No, it was built in '98 too.
Yeah. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, not bad.
No, it's right on the
I think
river
we'll
too.
start to get to Real Monarchs. This is, I think, at their kind of training facility. Great, like another great stadium. Austin Bold,
that's a nice
great.
one.
Like, let me move forward a little bit. Even Hartford. Not bad. And then we've got a literal track around the field here. Like, it just, and let me just, for emphasis, yeah, that's the pitch, but this is really the pitch.
It's like they didn't want them to play on the actual turf. You know what I mean? So what they did is they tried to lay down other turf on top of the football, and it didn't work out, man. It really, and I mean,
Rowdy Stadium there.
Oh, Al Lang. That's such a beautiful stadium.
Tulsa. We got a couple baseball stadiums, but Colorado, beautiful.
There it is.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable. They did so well with that.
San Antonio, Toyota Field, great. I love that field. And then, I'm going to stop here, but let's see if I can find it quickly. Phoenix Rising, their stadium. I believe that's a rendering. I know they were in the process of doing a new stadium. I can't quite remember if they're in it now. And then,
Lynn family.
probably the best stadium in
Oh,
USL.
I'm not close to Louisville, but I am almost like, part of me is like, man, I really got to get down to Louisville from here in Ohio and
I'd support that.
see this stadium, because it's just unbelievable. Like it's better than, I would say, 80% of the MLS stadiums. I would really say that. I would put my money on saying that's better than 80% of the MLS stadiums.
I mean, if you want to take into account the fact that New England Revolution are still playing at Gillette, I'd say it's a much more suitable stadium
that's just
than Gillette.
laughable. That is laughable for an MLS.
It is laughable.
And especially one of the original, MLS teams to be still like playing in Gillette. Like it's just it. I think it. In all credit to the Revs this season, they're having a great season. For those of you who haven't looked, they're top of the Eastern Conference right now. But it's so awful to know that like the owners just don't give any sort of care for that club to put them somewhere even close to Boston. I mean, for those of you who don't know geography, or don't, I should say don't know geography, for those of you who don't know the geography of Massachusetts, Foxborough on a good day with little traffic is probably about an hour away from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time Revs have games, the train doesn't even run to Gillette Stadium.
Right, yeah.
Half the time. So you have to either figure out a way to drive. The majority of people who I would say are soccer fans in the Boston area around college age, and maybe they don't have a car in the city because they live in the city with public transportation. And it's unfortunate. The environment would be so much better if the Revs had that. That's my TED Talk. If we want to move on, we can move on, because I'm getting too worked up.
Let's move on. I think they have rescheduled. I'm trying to find the date. I had it earlier today, but I believe they are rescheduling that. So
cool. That's good. I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Let's move on to another farce, because we've got all of them today.
This is the Touchline Takes farce wacky show.
So NISA is not immune to these sort of things. As we've seen in the last month or so, they've struggled to get games streaming, which that kind of made me lose a little bit of my momentum for watching the league, because now like I didn't search for games for probably a couple of weeks, just because I kept seeing that they weren't going to be streaming them. So it just felt kind of pointless. But we're not talking about that. I think an even bigger miss on their part was between New Amsterdam FC and LA Force. They were playing on LA Force's field, and I think around the 60th minute, no lights.
Somebody forgot to pay the light bill. That's why
they had to end the game, and I think most people would have come away from that being okay with it. Now, they would have been okay with it, I think, if they had either rescheduled or planned on finishing the game the next day. No, they just ended the game and gave LA Force the win. They were up 2-0, but the game wasn't over, and they just handed it to them. I don't.
And they're the ones without the lights too. They were the ones without, right?
Exactly. Like our team's just going to start turning their lights off and going, oh, sorry, well, we have the lead, so we get 3 points, right?
Right. Forgot to put it on our credit card this month, so looks like we're going home. No, that's foolish. Like, I mean, between that and NISA and the USL with the Oakland Roots whole fiasco, like, this isn't a time these lower leagues, like, need to have these things happening, especially when you have, the MLS breathing more and more down their necks at times. Like, if they want to be looked at, I guess, as legitimate, and I mean, I shouldn't say it that way. If they want, like, people, the MLS people to be looking at them as legitimate, these sort of things can't happen. Like, I mean, it's just, it's unfortunate. And then, like you said, to go even farther, if not even bother to reschedule, Because how long does the NISA season go? Like they still got months left in that season, right?
They've got the spring season and then they got the fall season.
Fall
So I
season,
actually
yeah.
think we're running up on the close of the spring season. I'm not even going to say, I should know this by now, but the thing is they keep changing things.
Right. And with this last year too, like with.
I think they're getting close to the playoffs right now. Let me just, for my sake, they are, let me see. This is so convoluted. They are, I have no clue.
There's somewhere
I've been so
in their
confused.
season, right?
Like there was playoff talk like 2 games in. I love NISA for what they're doing, but it's confusing. I think even the biggest NISA fans will say it's confusing. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's, a new cup every year and they don't continue it. They have continued the Independent Cup, I think, as we mentioned a couple weeks back, which is nice because the US Open Cup was canceled.
Right.
Regardless, I think it's just unprofessional. They're calling themselves a professional league and they're trying to compete with USL League One, but they're finishing games early because they don't have light. Like this is worse than some Sunday leagues. Like, and it just gives the league an overall amateur feel, and specifically giving the victory to LA Force after that made it seem even worse. Now, I think some people are still trying to figure out what exactly happened, and the Protagonist podcast actually did a little piece on this. So you can go to protagonistsoccer.com and really read into a detailed kind of account of what exactly occurred. Now, and the kind of gist of it, which I would say is, you should still read the entire article. It was a for safety reasons type thing, and that's why it was stopped for the darkness.
Right.
I guess that's okay, and it's kind of embarrassing that that's the answer they went with, but...
I mean, did they give any answer of, why they wouldn't reschedule, or because it's so late in the season, or they just kind of said, here you go, LA Force?
My guess, although I feel like they still could have done it the next day, my guess is that it's just... This is a not very deep pockets league, and this is a coast-to-coast game.
Yeah, New York and LA, yeah.
Probably cost quite a bit of money just to get the teams there. So, I don't know, man. It's giving me pause on this league and the leadership that there is or lack thereof. But, I'm still supporting it. I'm hoping that things just keep getting better. There are growing pains. There are growing pains with MLS. I mean, MLS in their first couple of years of existence had teams fold, Tampa Bay Mutiny and Miami Fusion, just to name a couple. So, we got to give them time. And yeah, it's just overall a weird situation. And I kind of just hope that they can put it behind them, move on, come back stronger next year. As we've talked about, Flower City FC is supposed to be joining the league. I think potentially Syracuse as well, which would be a nice little upstate New York contingent. So, there's more on the horizon. Right. Maryland Bobcats have been good.
Yeah, no, Maryland's going to be an exciting one. They're another team that's great at marketing and sort of has a lot of kind of momentum around them. Maryland's going to be a really cool team to see in NISA, and there's a lot of great movement with clubs coming in. It's just they need to stop these things from happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, Carl, what's next on the list? Euros. We've been watching a lot of that. It's been exciting.
Yeah, Euros it's weird because I've watched a lot and I'm watching some of these games and I'm like, wow, the Czech Republic is really good. They have some really good players. Wow, yeah, Austria.
What's his name? Schick?
Yeah, Patrick Schick.
Yeah, and he's real good.
His
goal. Oh my God. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
If you didn't see this, people, go on YouTube immediately. Pause the podcast. I don't care. Close out of the podcast. Go look up Patrick. Is it Patrick Schick's 50-yard goal?
Unbelievable. The thing was a missile, man. It was shot out of a rocket launcher. And I think my favorite part, and poor Welsh goalkeeper or Scottish goalkeeper, sorry, that got caught in the net because like he wasn't even that far off his line. Like for those of you who have seen it who are just watching it now, like it's not like he was in a bad position. It was just an unreal goal that had so much whip, so much dip, and so much pace to it. Like it's one of the craziest things I've seen all Euros.
Do you think I can show it without us
Oh, we
being?
might get in trouble with was it DMA or something like that?
I mean, it's ESPN FC, but is this like fair use?
I have no
I
idea.
mean, come on. How does the React
If
economy work? React to
if
we
you
can't
can
do
find
this.
it on like TUDN, the Mexican broadcast, we might be able to.
Yeah,
ESPN, I worry about a little bit more.
it'll
Than,
probably get. You're right. It'll probably get flagged, but I'll just point everyone to go. It's on YouTube. Just type in
Mhm.
Patrick Schick. That's I'm not gonna tell you to spell it. You can figure it out. Goal of the
Czech
tournament.
Republic, Czech
Yeah,
Republic, goal of the tournament, whatever one you want to do. It was an unbelievable goal, and I'm staring at this bracket right now.
mm-hmm.
I can't tell you who's gonna win. Like obviously Germany still looks like crap. Like I'll be
Italy's been
honest with you.
amazing.
Italy's been amazing. I would say right now Italy's probably my pick. I feel like France are vulnerable. I'm gonna call it right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see Switzerland beat France. I feel
Really,
like if Switzerland can take them, if it's a
that's a hot
1-1 game,
take.
if it's a 1-1 game going into extra time, I feel like Switzerland pulls it out either on penalties or in extra time.
Mm-hmm.
Spain, Spain for the last decade, since they won the cup, I feel like has just fallen off a cliff. Like they just haven't looked good. So I feel
Agreed.
like Croatia is better. But you look at this one side of this bracket, and I'll just explain it to you guys.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so on the left side of the bracket, you have Belgium, Portugal, Italy, Austria, France, Switzerland, Spain, Croatia. That's just on one side of this Euro knockout last 16 bracket. On the other side, you have Sweden, Ukraine, England, Germany, Netherlands, Czech Republic, Wales, Denmark. It's like whoever wins this England Germany game, I mean, all depending what happens with the Netherlands there, possibly has a cakewalk, in my opinion, to the finals. Like you want to be on this side of the bracket right now because we could be looking at a Spain France or Spain Switzerland or Croatia France, last 8. We could be looking at a Italy Portugal or Italy Belgium last 8. Like that's a match that could be a final, and yet we're gonna get them in the second knockout round. It's set up pretty well to be an exciting Euros. I don't think Portugal will win it again, but I've been wrong before, just like I'll probably be wrong
Yeah.
about this France game.
I think they've got the talent to do it. They've got the youth between Diogo Jota and Joao Felix, and then obviously Cristiano Ronaldo has continued to show that he is still capable of leading the charge.
Right.
Currently top scorer in the competition,
He's unbelievable.
5 goals.
I hate to say it, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, but it's Italy hasn't conceded a single goal so far. They've always been known for, I would say, their defensive prowess. You got Chiellini, Bonucci, who have kind of led that line for a long time. So they've been known for their defense, and they've definitely shown that this tournament.
They've been so explosive this tournament, though. Like they're playing an attacking style of football that's exciting, and I mean I feel like that's the whole tournament. And I can't remember off the top of my head right now what group they were in, but just they've looked fantastic. So
they were in a group with Wales, Switzerland, and Turkey, which I think typically if people looked at Wales in that group, they'd say, all right, that's an easy opponent. But Wales have proven that they've made do with what they have, and they've made do pretty well. Turkey has struggled, for the last couple of years. That might be a result of their league being sort of paying for a premium for foreign talent rather than developing domestic talent. It's hard to say.
They have so many young players too that
Yeah.
it's just, I think everybody was shocked to see them come into the Euros. And I think a lot of people expected them to be a dark horse, but they just look like starstruck.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of those players had never played at this type of like level before, this type of kind of like atmosphere. So
yeah, so it's I think they still had a decently tough group and they came out on top.
right.
My kind of, I think I would have to say all it's going to take is a turn in form for Germany to turn things around. England have not looked perfect. They obviously had that tie against Scotland, so that I love that. I love that.
Southgate is awesome.
Beautiful.
Man. Southgate is so bad, and I follow so many like English like pundits and English soccer fans, football fans, and they absolutely hate Southgate. I don't think there's a person in the UK or in England, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a listener in England, that doesn't like Southgate. Like he,
you mean just that does like, so you said doesn't like, just to clarify.
Yes,
here.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a person that does like Southgate.
Okay.
So it's I don't know. He just doesn't play the style that team should be playing, and it's a very boring. Basically, what I watched for Tottenham all of this past year. And I feel like Harry Kane is either still dealing with some nagging injury. He hasn't looked like he's been in great form.
Yeah, he was pulled off in the last game, in like the 60-something minute?
Something like that. So
Marcus Rashford went on.
Who knows? I feel like Germany's probably going to end up in the final somehow. I do like Netherlands. I think the Netherlands are a good squad. They're seeing their resurgence after missing the World Cup.
Man, he is a different player when he plays for that national team, and he's proven it time and time again. He's not a pure goal scorer for Liverpool, and he hasn't been. I think his last.
But now he's going to PSG or Barcelona.
He has a chance of dumping in some goals. But he's been great. Frankie De Jong, I've loved to watch him play off of that. Memphis Depay hasn't really done much, but they've got a good squad. It's got some youth to it. I think you've got a good point with that. I think France obviously still has a chance to turn things around, but right now, I'm really looking at Italy, and I'm not counting out Germany yet either. So those are my two favorites.
I think it'll be Italy, Germany in the final.
Okay.
I do. I can put some money on that. I can give you guys my account number, routing number. You can send it all to it.
You heard it here first. If you want to steal all of Carl's money,
this is the way to do it.
So I guess do you think that's enough on the Euros? Because I think
so. I don't know what else to talk about. All the best to Christian Eriksen. What a horrifying and shocking thing that was.
We didn't even give that a moment, but I agree. Yeah, we should mention that if you didn't catch it, and honestly, it was a little painful how long they. So Christian Eriksen, he had a I'm totally.
Cardiac
Did
arrest.
He go into cardiac arrest? Was that what it was?
Yep. His heart stopped.
Yeah. Essentially, right on the side of the field, he just collapsed. Medical staff immediately ran over. His teammates did an amazing job of shielding him. The only thing, and I think the people that have gotten the most criticism were the broadcasters, who spent way too much time filming him, as well as his wife, which I thought was, or girlfriend, I'm actually not sure their relationship. Way too much time, I think, filming her in particular. It's just don't put somebody like that on international TV in one of their worst moments. But luckily, as we saw, as he was coming off the field, he was conscious, and then he was stabilized recovering in the hospital. But it's going to be tough for him to be able to probably be able to play at the same capacity. That was kind of a similar thing to, not quite the same, but Iker Casillas kind of went through a similar moment where he realized he had a condition, and that kind of limited his playing after he left Real Madrid.
Right.
So, I hope he makes a full recovery, and I hope he's
100%.
capable of continuing on, but definitely a scary situation.
For sure. No, I absolutely, wish him all the best. As a Tottenham fan, Christian Eriksen's deep in my heart, and so it was definitely a scary thing, especially to watch live. Like, just makes you feel so sick to your stomach. Like,
Yeah.
and it just kind of was, shocking. Like, it almost doesn't feel real when you see those things happen. And it's absolutely amazing. All praise to the medical staff for what they did to be able to, it's fascinating that medical staff 99.9% of the time, just stands there on the pitch, on the side of the pitch, not doing anything every single game. And that 0.1% that they have to come out and they have to do something to save somebody's life, they were able to do it. And just one other, sort of quick thing about the Euros. How awesome is it to see these full capacity stadiums, man?
It's great.
I
think I remember you talking about it a while back, about like the crowd noise being pumped in to games and how just like that was. It's great to see it in a very real capacity.
Right.
And yeah, no, it makes me feel whole again. The only thing I wanted to mention that was kind of another little negative side, I'm just going to go right for it because it's useless avoiding this topic. UEFA did not allow Bayern Munich to display a kind of like a pride. I don't know what to say. Like their stadium lighting, like around the outside of Allianz Stadium, was a kind of homage to Pride Month. It was a rainbow, and UEFA was not going to allow them, or did not allow them to do that because of their upcoming match with Hungary, I believe. I think that was kind of the reason for it. They've got a fairly anti-LGBT government in place right now, and it's sad, like we've kind of seen some hypocrisy with FIFA over the past couple months, I would say. I'm not going to say what the phrase is, but there's this chant that the Mexican national team fans have been known to use, and it's a slur against it's a homophobic slur. And FIFA's come at them hard. Yet here we have FIFA not allowing a celebration of pride. We have FIFA allowing a World Cup to be hosted in a country where gay people have no rights. And even worse, they're imprisoned or worse. So it's just disgusting to see that kind of thing from FIFA. I mean, I think pretty obviously we can say that they're caving to sponsors and power players, but sad, man.
I just, and excuse me for this, but it's complete bullshit on their part. They come out with this stuff that they don't want to be political. It's like, by making these decisions, you're making it political. It is unfortunate how celebrating, Pride Month has become such a political statement,
right?
In this world, in these cultures, that it's so unfortunate. And I mean, UEFA
right, like they're okay with players kneeling,
right?
Which has been a whole debacle in itself. I mean, we've seen teams get ridiculed by their own fans. I mean,
England.
They're getting booed for taking a knee when some of their best players are black. It's like, I'm sorry, do you not? What's the problem with them just taking a knee for a second? I read a whole article, I think I was texting you about this, that when interviewed, a lot of these people said, oh, it's because it's a Marxist organization. And I'm like, where are you, like, what?
Facebook.
That's
Must have been on Facebook.
That's not why the English players, like, I bet if you asked all of the English players, they're not kneeling because they're in support of a Marxist organization. They're kneeling because they're in support of racial equality. Like, you can push into Black Lives Matter as much as you want and dig into that and say, oh, well, there are people within the organization that are Marxist. That's not the point of why they're kneeling.
No.
Like, say what you want about that. They're kneeling for racial equality. And if you're doing that, you're a terrible person.
It was just a whole mess of things this past week when it comes to that for UEFA too, and it all revolved around the German team, right? Because Manuel Neuer, they were saying that he can't wear his pride captain band, like a colorful rainbow captain band, that was the pride flag. They were basically telling him, hey, don't wear it. And then they got so much pushback that we were finally like, okay, like you can wear it. Like, we never told him he can't wear it, like, and all this excuse stuff. It's just a bunch of hypocrisy from them. And, again, they say they don't want to be political, but by doing this, they're making their own political statements to it. Right.
And confusing ones at that.
Exactly. So.
Well, Carl, we need to find something to end this on a
right
note.
on a happy note.
We had kind of this is where we meant to end, but we didn't. We weren't really this was not in our notes that we were going to go on this tangent, but it was totally necessary.
No. I think so. It has to be brought up and talked about. So yeah, I'm glad we did. But for all of you listening, we thank you as always.
Yeah, I know how we can end this on a positive note.
How can we do it?
Carl, this will be posted tonight. I am giving everyone my guarantee. Pinky promise to the
they don't know
here.
what day tonight is. Just so you know, it is June 23rd. It is right now 8:35 p.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
So
June 23rd. So I will be posting this tonight. Maybe late, but it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on all the podcast channels. So I feel confident in saying you will also see in your feed, as well as on YouTube, an interview with the GM of El Paso Locomotive, Andrew Forrest. So definitely check that one out.
Awesome.
We got a lot of good insight into how that club is run, kind of the ideas behind how that club originated, some of their connections with FC Juarez, just their general focus on the community, their focus on the field. A lot of good info in there. Great guy.
100%.
He really, cares about developing the game. So check that out.
Definitely. All aboard, everybody, onto the locomotive train, because it's a really awesome interview. And for all of you, and hopefully you people who are listeners, are interested in the USL and lower leagues, like this is one you're not going to want to miss, because he's someone that's passionate about this. And, there are plenty of people across the USL, across NISA that are passionate. But to hear it firsthand really gives you, a deeper insight into, that passion and what they're doing for the community and what they're doing for the club, and what they're doing for the game here in the United States.
Totally agree, man. Well, hey, another great podcast. I think we fit just about as much in as we could.
Possibly, yeah.
Once again, if you've stuck around with us this deep into the pod,
right,
we see the statistics, so we know it's not many. But hey, if you did, we appreciate you.
The few, the proud, right?
Yep.
The Touchline Takes listeners.
Yep.
So, Cameron, it's been real. I will be expecting this podcast tonight, and so all the pressure's on you. No. Yep. But of course, how we always end it. Follow us on Twitter at Touchline Takes. We didn't change the Twitter, I promise. At Touchline Takes. Follow us on Instagram. It is at Touchline _takes. Guys, we took
been great with our Instagram. We took forever to get it up and running, and we haven't really been. We haven't
posted in like a month. We're gonna try to get on it. Cameron and I are getting old. We're getting past that age of Instagram. So we're trying to figure it out. If any of you guys have any tips,
Yeah, I forgot how to use it. Somebody told me.
So, no, I have no idea how to use Instagram anymore.
Once
but
I got to the age of 25, I was actually issued a government mandated flip phone again. So
right.
I just
and you had to sign a release that said no more Instagram past
Mhm.
8 p.m. on weekdays. So hopefully we can get posting a little bit more for that. But just type in Touchline Takes Instagram on Google. We'll pop up. That's us. And of course, follow our new YouTube account as well. We're going to be trying to post a lot more there on YouTube.
Yep.
Get these videos out, kind of, get faces to this awesome podcast you always listen to. And if you don't like our faces, please just keep the comments to yourselves.
Or just go back to the audio podcast. It's fine.
Right.
It's okay. I know I'm ugly. It's all right.
Cameron, you're beautiful to me. This has been another fantastic podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back at it again. I'll see you later, man.
See you later.